This is Jack Nugent, and you're watching Now You See It. Let's talk about how the film Inglourious Basterds is actually making fun of you. Quentin Tarantino is one of the most popular and consistently violent mainstream directors. His films focus on people committing violence. Criminals who kill, contract killers, a black market gun runner who kills, a former assassin killing for revenge, a special World War II unit whose one goal is
killing Nazis,
more contract killers, and finally his newest film, The Hateful Eight, coming out fall 2015, will star Samuel L. Jackson as, you guessed it, a contract killer. There's no doubt that Tarantino's films, especially his higher budget ones, display a sort of hyper-violence with numerous and exaggerated deaths. Vanity Fair made a nice chart tallying each death in a Tarantino film and how that person died, showing just how violent his films can be. Tarantino's eighth film, Inglourious Basterds, is no exception. The film leaves 57 killed, not including the 342 deaths from the fire in the theater at the end of the film. This averages to one gruesome death about every 2.5 minutes. Now that's violent. Even with all this violence, Inglourious Basterds was a huge financial and critical success, earning over $300 million and 8 Academy Award nominations. The majority of Tarantino's films did well in the box office. In fact, of the 9 films Tarantino has directed, 8 have earned triple their original budget. So what does this say about us, the viewers, who pay to see and enjoy Tarantino's films? Do we like violence? Is it wrong for us to enjoy movies where people die left and right? Tarantino realizes this juxtaposition and even goes so far as to criticize us, the viewers, for finding hyper-violence in his films so entertaining. Let's take a look at Inglourious Basterds and see how he critiques an audience that glamorizes violence. Inglourious Basterds is about a World War II special unit named the Bastards, whose mission is to blow up a cinema where dozens of high-ranking Nazi soldiers and elite watch a propaganda film, including Hitler himself. The film shown at the cinema is about Friedrich Zoller, a Nazi soldier who single-handedly kills 250 Russians from a guard tower. The film, titled Nation's Pride, is extremely violent. From what we see, the film consists of little more than shots of Friedrich Zoller shooting and killing dozens of Russian soldiers. The crowd of Nazis loves it. They cheer and laugh at each death, praising the film. Hitler even tells the director of the film, "This is your best film yet." We can't help but look at the audience watching Nation's Pride and find them a bit humorous and ridiculous. They view this repetitive, tasteless, and unnecessary killing entertaining and well-made. To us, it appears to be nothing but a cheap spectacle movie. But think about it. Doesn't this sound familiar? The Nazi viewers are audience members watching a film, but so are we, watching Inglourious Basterds. It's a film within a film. Don't we react with similar praise to Quentin Tarantino's hyper-violent films when we're the audience members? I want to suggest that Tarantino is trying to say us viewing Inglourious Basterds is similar to the Nazis viewing Nation's Pride. We cheer at death, even when it's tasteless and glorifies unnecessary violence. We see just as much excessive violence in Inglourious Basterds as the Nazis do in Nation's Pride. While the bastards are in the middle of their plan to blow up the building, the owners of the cinema, in a separate attack, light the whole cinema on fire and lock the exit doors, so the Nazi crowd is trapped and burned alive. Even though the bastards' mission to kill everyone in the cinema is fulfilled, they still shoot into the crowd of Nazis, more unnecessary violence, and blow up the cinema, even more unnecessary violence. There's ridiculous violence throughout the film. People cut off scalps, get beat to death with baseball bats, and get shot in the testicles. Both Nation's Pride and Inglourious Basterds contain excessive violence. The similarities don't stop there. Both protagonists carve Nazi symbols with a knife and are overly faithful to their country. Even the shots in Nation's Pride and Inglourious Basterds are similar. Look at the shot of a person flying out of the exploding cinema. Notice the similarities between this shot and these shots of soldiers falling out of buildings during Nation's Pride. Tarantino is showing that his movie is not far off from Nation's Pride. Even the film titles are comparable, where Inglourious Basterds is the exact opposite meaning of Nation's Pride. These films are similar, and so are their respective audiences. Us viewing Inglourious Basterds and the Nazis viewing Nation's Pride. We both praise the violence in the film. We both cheer on death. We both get desensitized to the brutality of killing. By comparing us to the Nazi viewers, Tarantino is criticizing our love for excessive violence. We're a bunch of easy-to-please, dim-witted audience members who find entertainment in senseless, gruesome killing, in the same way that the Nazi viewers are portrayed as simple-minded audience members who find entertainment in the over-the-top violence in Nation's Pride. He's poking fun at us. He's saying we're as ridiculous as the Nazi viewers are. Look at other instances of absurd violence. And this is by no means limited to Inglourious Basterds either. Tarantino does this in all of his other films as well. He sometimes even uses death for comedy.
I said tell Miss Laura goodbye.
Bye, Miss Laura.
You gotta have an opinion. I mean, do you think that God came down from heaven and stopped?
Oh, what the fuck's happening? Oh,
man.
shit, man.
Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the fuck you do that?
I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
It takes skill to pull an audience into a world where killing can become a punchline, but there's more to it than that. The screen desensitizes us. We can remove ourselves from the realities of death when we watch a film, and Tarantino knows it. The extent we can see death as a joke, though, is worth making fun of, and Nation's Pride provides a good allegory for how ridiculous we can be. Is it hypocritical that we can praise violence in a film, yet denounce it in reality? One final anecdote about the two films and their audiences. While Nation's Pride is playing, Shosanna kills the real Friedrich Zoller, but nobody in the audience notices, because they're so engrossed in the violence of the film. They think the gunshot noise is just another sound effect. Is Tarantino making a commentary about how we don't address or notice deaths in reality and only pay attention to the ones in the movies we adore? Inglourious Basterds is not the only film to critique its viewers. With any film that features an audience, consider if the director is making a commentary about the audience actually watching the film. Wolf of Wall Street is about the rise and fall of a corrupt businessman named Jordan Belfort. He's unfaithful to his wife, steals money from thousands of people, has no one who truly loves him, and spends years in jail. Logically, we should look at Jordan Belfort as a dishonest, despicable man, but look at the audience in the final shot of the film. Do they look like they despise him? They adore him. They want to be just like him, rich and famous, no matter how much dishonesty and stealing it takes. Just like Inglourious Basterds, the director is showing the flaws of us as an audience. Is Jordan Belfort really the type of person we should strive to be like? A clever director can use audiences or even crowds of people as a way of generalizing a society as a whole. It's most interesting, however, when the commentary is centered on the viewers of the film, who are far from perfect. So the next time you see any movie that features an audience, ask yourself, are they making fun of me?